Hi FlossTube, it's Jen, also known as Quirks and Stitches. I'm so excited to be able to finally show some of the things I've been stitching this past month. So those of you that might be new or whatnot, I'm going to be showing the 24 projects that I worked on during my 24 hours of cross stitch and updating you on where I have gotten to. I had previously asked that if you wanted to kind of push me along, that you guess how many of the 24 you thought I'd be able to finish before March 1st. And by guessing, it was entering you in to win some of my floss cards that I do for my floss for my projects. So, you know, it was great. I honestly, over 40 people guessed. And let me tell you, it's kept me going because the last time that I filmed, like, I had like 5 done, I think. And I was stitching, like I was going, but like, you guys guessed high. And so, so I was like, I did like 3 more and I was like, okay, I could be done. Like I could, you know, chill out and maybe work on some of my Stitch 9 challenge or, you know, some of the other things I want to work on. But I think the lowest guess was 11, which isn't like that many, but it was a lot at the time. So so I'm not going to tell you yet how many I finished. What I thought I would do is I thought I would go chronologically through the 24 hours again and show you my progress on where I'm at. So hopefully we're going to be able to be technologically advanced enough to show pictures of where I was when I stopped on the 24 hours and then what I've been able to finish since then. I think Brandon can do that. I say we. It's really just him. Also, it is like Thursday evening, and I am showered with shower wet hair because I do it in the mornings, not at night, and in my pajamas. So I'm sorry, but no makeup, no nothing, because it's time for bed. So I have my mug. I thought I'd do my 24-hour mug, my Do Small Things with Great Love, and I'm drinking tea tonight. It's my second glass. So I am going to get started. Watson's very chewy right now, so she's behind me chewing, chomping away on a bone, but we've already put away the squeaky toys, so we shouldn't have any of that shenanigans again tonight. So when we first started on the 24 hours, my first project was Measure of a Year by Prairie Schooler. This is where I was when I left off, or when you last saw it. And you've already seen this one, so you know that this was one of my finishes. This one is on 40 count lambswool, and I just think it's a very sweet little piece. It's super tiny, like really, really tiny. And I have the fabric for the rest of them to do, so I will be, I don't know where to put these once I'm done. Kept my table like big. We have like, it's my dining room table. Well, it used to be my dining room table. Now it's in this, like, our apartment's a really weird shape. You probably think I'm in, like, a room. I'm in a hallway. It's like this square hallway outside of Brandon's office, and there's a bathroom over there, and our bedroom's back there. It's just this very awkward space. And I was like, I think our table will fit. It does, which was really exciting, and so it's like our kind of gaming area. You're not here to listen about this. Okay. Those of you that guessed 24, you were wrong. I'm going to give that spoiler away right now because this one I was not able to finish. This was Without a Mouse by Blackbird Designs. I have my list over here, so I keep glancing over to it. This was Without a Mouse. This is where I was when you last saw it. And I love this. I'm doing this on a 40 count vintage sand dune, and I'm using a silk. I don't have the thread down here, but it was a limited edition, I think, that I got in a stitchy box. But honestly, guys, this is not a small. This was one of, and I picked a lot of things that really weren't small. Oh, goodness. I have this piece of paper, cardboard behind me to help it be easier for you to see, but I'm not used to doing that, so I feel a little awkward. I really like it. It's hard. It's my first time working with silk, so I think it's different. It goes like it's a thicker thread. maybe, I don't know. It's taken me some adjustment. But I really like this piece, and I will finish this one. But didn't get all 24 done. I was trying really hard. Really was. You've seen this one too. This is another finish, but this is where I was at 24. This is Stranded Jacks by Plum Street Samplers. I don't know if me doing this to tell Brandon, oh, I just cued him. He better be listening when he's editing too. I don't know if that's helping at all with how we're inserting the pictures, but I'm going to keep going with it. This is Stranded Jacks by Plum Street Samplers, and I did the whale. I will go back and do at least one more from the series, and I have enough room on this piece of linen, so I didn't trim it up real close because this paper thing is hard. If I held it up at the top and straight, it would be better. I will go back and finish more of them, but this was another finish. Okay, the next one I was working on was Love Never Fails. It was a freebie by the Primitive Hare, and this is where I was when you last saw me. And this one I was able to get a finish on. This was stitched on 40 count lambswool, and I used a variegated either Gentle Arts or Weeks Dye Works. It was just stash that I had, and I like it. It's very like dainty, but it feels like a much bigger 40 count than other 40 count. Next, I was working on Spell of the Moon. That was another one by Blackbird Designs that also was not really a very small one. And here's where I was the last time you saw it. I did get a finish on this one. I really, really like the way that this turned out. This was on a 40 count Picture This Plus Legacy, and I used the called for colors except for that gray. The gray and the owl I didn't have what they called for, so I used Confederate gray. I really like him. If nothing else, I think he might be my favorite. The next start I did was for Emily's Stitch Along, Eclectic Possessions. If you don't watch her, go check her out. And this is where I was. This is where I am. So I did not go back to this one. Pretty much every other piece I did go back and put more stitches on. I was saving this one till the end because with Emily's Stitch Along starting tomorrow, or today for you, those of you that are watching this, because I'm not putting this up until March 1st, I wanted to be able to go back and work on this during her Stitch Along. So I decided to wait. I'm stitching this on a 36 count Weeks Dye Works Dove. And right now using called for colors, although I might be subbing some in and out. For those of you that followed me for Stitch Madness last year, which is what I'm doing in March, I started a new project every day, and then when the only way I would work on something else was if I finished it, and I would only go to Stitch Madness projects. So if I finished something, it had to be a March 1st or later start that I was working on. I'm going to change that this year. So if I finish something during the month of March, of one of my Stitch Madness pieces, I'm allowing myself to go back to an older piece. Probably this one, and probably Matter's Choice, because honestly I have all of these people that started it with me on my birthday, and then I'm like flaking hardcore. Sorry. I'm loving seeing everybody stitch that one though. So I don't know if those of you that are tracking this are counting down with how many that I am failing to get done yet, but I'll tell you the final number. Calculate it all at the end. The next one I worked on was Nantucket Sewing Kit by Stacy Nash, and this is where I was after the 24. I believe I showed this one in my last video, so this was another finish. I really like him. The leaves outside on the border are not symmetrical, and it kind of like messed with my perfectionistic mind, but I'm glad I followed the pattern because I like the way it looks. it's just on like a 36 count piece of scrap that I had. I don't remember what else I stitched on it. So it's a pearl gray, I think. I don't know who the dyer is. Yeah, I'm so glad I got some whale things done. Everybody keeps sending me whales. Thank you, keep doing it. That Quaker whale or whatever by Al Forrest. I'm gonna be figuring out how to order from Russia. Or McKenna. So the next one was, have you guys noticed that I ironed, well, I didn't iron, but my mom ironed all of these for me today, the finishes, because I'm trying to be a little bit more presentable on this floss tube thing. The next one I was working on was the Spot of Autumn by the Drawn Thread. This is where I was when I last showed you. I think that this is going to be one that I am not going to finish. I did not finish it. I got some more stitching done on it, but it made me realize I'm really bad at, like, it didn't make me realize this. The filming made me realize that I do not understand how to show things on film. I get very crooked. The pattern has a lot of specialty stitches. I don't love specialty stitches. For the most part, if there are specialty stitches in something, I sub it out with regular X's. I was planning to sub all of this out with regular X's as well. But there's a lot. And I realized it's part of a series. So there's 6 letters listed in it. There's like D, E, F, J, K, L or something. Or 6 letters that would be actually next to each other in the alphabet, which I'm not capable of thinking of right now. And so then I was like, well, I could change it. Since I don't have the other ones in the series, I could change it to like my initials and Brandon's initials. And then I was just like, I don't love this. So I think this is one that is going to probably be abandoned. I don't do that easily though, so I'm probably going to sit on it for a little bit, but it just isn't. And then it comes with a charm, and I stitched it on a different stitch count than what they called for. I think I'm doing it on 36. I don't remember what count. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm just not loving it. Which is a bummer. Not a finish. The next one up, I had showed you, I think, progress on this one in my last video, but I didn't, not the last video, but the last video I was showing progress on things. This is Boo Moon by Prairie Schooler, and it's the cat. And I was able, see, I'm going to keep forgetting to do that. This is where I was when I was doing the 24. And I was able to finish him. He's on a 36 count Murky by Picture This Plus. And I kept, the reason he's not like all cut out is I think I'm going to go back and do more from the series. And I love them on Murky. So I think I just, instead of cutting him out and finishing and having a wonky piece of fabric, I decided I would just keep the fabric and decide which other ones from the pattern I wanted to do. So, but he is done. I really like him. And I don't normally like back stitching, but the moon is perfect. So, that was another one. Next up was Brouhaha. I'm very blurry. Focused. Brouhaha by Plum Street Samplers. This is where I was the last time you saw me. And he is done. I'm going to be building up my coffee wall. So coffee's kind of been a focus for me for stitching. So I really liked stitching him. He's on a 36 count Old Mill Java by R&R. And yeah, I didn't really make any changes, I don't think. I think I followed the DMC conversion or whatever it was written as exactly. But he's so cute. The next up was Hot Cocoa Designs, and this was by M Designs. I was stitching this on a 36 piece of scrap. Here's where I was. And here's my finish. I did not, the pattern, this was from a magazine. They're not called episodes. Edition. The Christmas ornament edition of just cross stitch. And it was really supposed to go like as a tag for a gift of giving away hot chocolate, which is something I usually do. I have a homemade hot chocolate mix that I used to use in my classroom when we did this thing called Poetry Cafe, and we drank hot chocolate on Fridays, every other Friday. So I have a thing with hot chocolate. It's like my favorite recipe that ever. If you want it, I'll send it to you. It's really good. But it just makes up a dry mix that you can keep on hand. And so that would have been cute. But this is going to be like a little pillow that I'll keep out. And it was supposed to be like a Christmas ornament. But I think Brandon drinks hot chocolate all year long. So it doesn't have to be just for Christmas. I hope this isn't boring to anyone. I guess if looking at cross stitch were boring, floss tube wouldn't be a thing. Right? Next up was Antique Locks and Keys by Shakespeare Peddler. This is where I was. Another finish. I really like how this turned out. I like keys. I started a collection for keys kind of back when we had our house, and one of our like hooks that was by our door has all the antique keys on it. I did this with a special edition limited thread that had come, I think, in Stitchy Box. Yeah, I really like it. It's on a 36 count navy bean by Lakeside Linens. The thread, though, it's hard to see in this lighting. It's got a lot of teal, but then all of a sudden it would like have this pop of red too. But I was like, I'm not changing it now, so oh well. Next up was a Star Garland, which was also in an edition of just cross stitch. I think the same one as M Designs. I think I can find that out and link it below or list what magazine it was. It's designed by La Di Da, and in their pattern it's like 3 of them together, but since this was minis, I'm counting 1 as a finish. So I was working just towards getting 1 done in that one. This is where I was. And don't let the needle on there fool you. This is a finish. I'm going to be going back and doing probably 2 more, but just kind of like the Prairie Schooler, I feel like I accomplished what I was setting to accomplish. So I'm counting this one as a finish too. And I'm keeping the fabric big because I may end up, if it's a garland, you know, since we're not in our permanent house right now, I don't know where I would hang a garland, and Mayhem likes to eat garlands, so I have to be very careful. She destroys anything pretty much with wires or strings. Wii's, like we can't, you know, the Wii, the game thing, we can't have sensor bars that have wires. We have to buy the wireless ones because she eats them, like, repeatedly. But that's finished. So, and I really like it. I'm doing, I think it's Indian Summer by Weeks Dye Works, and I have like a green that I'll be doing, and my goal is to like kind of alternate. I don't know how I'll finish those. I really like how they're finished in the magazine though, so that is my goal. Next up, it's weird having so many things to show you. It wasn't so awkward in 24 because I did them each hour and I took a break and I came back. Next up is a Hoot by Homespun Elegance. I believe you have seen this one as well. Oh, this is where I was. I almost spoiled it, guys. But I think you'd already seen this one, so it wasn't really spoiled. That's where he's at. I love him. I can't believe I've had this pattern for like ever. Like, it was one of the first patterns I bought when I got back into cross stitching, and I cannot believe it took me so long to stitch him. I've said it before though, the color of him I'm really surprised is so dark, because in the pattern picture it's not, but I used the called for him. The pumpkin, the orange, I used Watson's making noise. I used a rusty something from Thread Gatherer. It's what I used in Hawk Run Hollow. Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, because there's 1,000 Hawk Run Hollows. Have to specify. Next up, I also, no. See, okay, so I have my list here that tells me what I've done, and it's out of order. Do you know how much that annoys me and how much I want to go find a new calendar book so that I can rewrite it so that it will be in the right order of the time that I started them? Who cares about that except for me? No one. Next up was Bird in the Hand by Heart in Hand. This is where I was. And if you remember on this one, I was not loving the fabric. I was having a really hard time after working on the Hoot, because it's on the same. They were both on 32 count Picture This Plus Legacy. And I was really struggling to see like the lines, and straight lines weren't working. Maybe I was tired. I had been up for God knows how many hours. Addison is a finish as well. He is so cute. I love the little Heart in Hand designs, and I have a few more of these to do. I have Halloween and I think Thanksgiving, and I'll be picking up whatever else there is to do because I love this series. And he has some beads on him. I don't typically do beads, but I did. And I did, look at, I did those French knots. I'm getting there. So, that's a finish. The next one was Pumpkin on a Hill by Bent Creek. Here's where I was after 24. And I believe this was the one that you guys had already seen. So, this one is a finish. He's so cute. I love crows. Blackbirds. I love birds. I don't really love birds. Like, I don't bird watch or... Okay, next up was All Hallows Eve by The Good Housewife. Was working on this on 32 count Echo by Picture This Plus. Here's where I was. Not very far. I gotta finish on this one. I love it. It's another one I had picked up like in a clearance bin. The pattern, I did a full color conversion, which that is rare for me. There is only one of the called for colors in here, but I didn't want to buy anything, so I just compared to the picture, and there's some that are a little different. It's not coming in real clear, but like I really like how it turned out. If I had been more conscious, I would have that green pumpkin there. I would have stitched in vertically to have the lines going up and down, but I'm really happy with how it is. Okay, we're getting there. The next one was Honeybee Hill by Blackbird Designs. And if you remember my video, I had to frog like everything I did in the first hour. But here's where I was when I stopped. And I miscalculated this piece of fabric. So on the pattern, you can see that there's supposed to be these hives on the beehives on the side. I didn't have space to do those, and that's where I started when I was doing stitch 24 hours across. There's too many hashtags that I do. So I reworked him. I did get a finish on him. Her, because it's a queen, because it's Her Majesty. And that's why I left it as a Q down there, because I was a little confused because the pattern gave like how to put your initials on it, but they were bigger than the Q down there, and then I just decided, okay, it's a bee, it's a queen bee. I'm gonna keep it as a Q because it looks like the flower up top is her crown, so I'm going with it. Maybe I was also lazy and didn't want to rechart. It's possible. I normally don't do specialty stitches. We have talked about that, but I did do the eyes with the eyelet. I followed the rules and everything. I went in order. The next one was Cod Keeps by Plum Street Samplers. $20, which I absolutely love because it's a whale. This is where I was. And if you remember, I was doing this on a piece of Weeks Dye Works that has haunted me throughout my stitching career. I think I purchased it to do Merry Xmas by Prairie Moon, and it didn't work for that. So I started something else. I believe I started The Quaker Ghost by Bent Creek. I tore that all out, and I think I've started something else on it and torn that out. So I'm not really sure why I thought this would be any different. Because I really like the fabric color. That's where it ends. I don't know what it is. I think it's a Weeks Dye Works. I think it might be Dolphin. I think it's a 32 count. It feels like wool. And I tried everything to get my tension right. I was on a hoop. I was using a Q-snap. I was doing everything I could. And it was just not working. It was a chore. It was not fun. It was not enjoyable. And I said, I need to be done with this because A, I'm not going to get any other finishes done if I keep trying to work on this one. And B, I need to get over that I have to do things because I started them. That is my goal for this year, is if I am not loving what I'm working on, I want to feel free to move on to something else. So this one, this piece of fabric, see there's Quaker Ghost down there. I finished him on another piece of fabric. I will be doing this pattern. I love this pattern. I will not be using this fabric, and I will not start another piece on this fabric. So if somebody wants it, wants to give a go, I'm not tearing out any of the stitches that are on there, but if you want to try to salvage it, I will send it to you. Just comment below. First person that comments, it's yours. The next one was Witch's Kitchen by Primitive Hare. Here's where I was. This was also another one that I was trying to do on that fabric. And I realized, first of all, 45 minutes on that was enough, and I wasn't loving it. So I started it on 35 count Havana, also by Weeks Dye Works. Has a similar feel, so I was struggling a bit with it. And you can tell by the amount of fabric that is still on here that it was not a finish. I did get some more done on it, and I will finish this one, even though it's hard. Like, Weeks Dye Works is just tough for me. My tension is different on that fabric than any other. I want to love it. I think it's a fabric that works really well probably when you're in a hoop or using a Q-snap. But the fact that I stitch in hand just does not lend itself well to it. Okay. Next up was Seasons of Love, My Little House. I was doing this on a 32 count dark cobblestone. We have a little French knot catastrophe right now, so it's still, this is where I was. It's still counting it as a finish, but I've got to fix that eye. I think the ironing kind of popped his eye out. This is their little Valentine. They're so cute though. I'm not usually like a cutesy stitcher. I don't think. Sometimes I am, but usually I'm more like primitive and like that kind of stuff. This I'm really glad I stitched, and I'm really glad I went with a dark background. I think originally I had it kitted up to do with just like a very light, but I think I like it better in the dark. So it's another finish. We're almost done. Promise, we're getting there. Next up was Golden Rule by the Stitcherhood. This, if you remember, was the one that I decided at hour 22 or whatever to do 1/1 on black. Somebody should just be like, Jen, get yourself together. You've been awake for almost, well, over 24 hours straight at this point, because I didn't just wake up and start this. We didn't start till 4 in the afternoon. And then you're going to do 1/1 on black? Without a magnifier? I didn't have a magnifier. This is where I was. This is where I'm at. I have gotten more done on this one. I do really like working on this. This is, I'm using a Q-snap, not my normal, but 1/1, I feel like you have to. So I am really liking it though, and I am so glad I decided to do it 1/1 and not normal, because it's just, it would have been pretty, but it wouldn't have been my style. I don't know, because it's going to be like nice and cute, like little. I think I can see it in my house more than if it had been 28 count, because it's not, again, my smalls were not small. Next up was Sister Stitcher by Primitive Hare. This was a freebie. Here's where I was. I was doing this on 32 count earthen by Picture This Plus. I got a finish on that. And typically I don't do the specialty. Why can't I be straight? Typically I don't do specialty things, so I was going to change the spools into X's, but I'm sitting there like, it is going to take me a lot less time to make a straight line across the spool than it is for me to go an X for each one of those. So I did them. I changed the colors on the spools too. Pattern wasn't really clear. I wasn't able to understand it. So I went with 2 different colors, and then I alternated the stars up here. I can't even make my hands understand which side of me is supposed to be moving when I'm on camera. So the stars are, this one is the color of that spool, and this one is the color of that spool. So I just think it's sweet. It's not necessarily, I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe in a sewing room. Maybe I'll gift it. I don't know, but I like how it turned out. And it was another finish. And last but not least was my last start. And it was the one that I thought I'd be able to finish during the 24 hours after I realized that was not happening. And I almost did, except for like the back stitching. This was Homespun Elegance. No, yes. Oh, see, I made another mistake in my book. Gotta find a new calendar. It's Adornments for Christmas by Homespun Elegance. And this is where I was. And he is done. It's really hard to see. I kind of failed at these. See, hands don't cooperate. These French knots on the little snowman thing. They're there and they're easier to see not on camera. I may go back and try to make them a little more stand-outy. And then I decided not to outline him with back stitching. I didn't feel like he needed it. But I did add the string, and it's funny, he's the one that I finished today because I kept putting it off, being like, oh, I have time. He's an automatic finish. So, those are my 24 starts. I finished a grand total of 18. I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, I only finished 19 projects total last year, and I'm already, over that this year. So, I finished 18 of them. I believe there were 4 people that guessed. That 18 would be my grand total. And I had said in my video that I would be doing a random number generator and pulling who was going to be the winner. Anybody that guessed 18, the 4 people, I will make you the project cards. So I will comment on your comments and just let you know that I know that you were a winner, and then I'm going to need you to get me what projects you want. Or I will just do 24 generic cards for you, where I just print them out without the information on them. However, if you want me to fill them in the way that I have them, so that they look like this and have the project and stitch count, and I will need that for each of them. So I'll need the project title, the designer, stitch count. I like to put what count the model was stitched on, so I know. That's just my personal preference. So if you would rather that line be something different or not there, that can happen. And then I need you to just tell me what floss. I can use like 1, 2, 3 stitch if it's on there to kind of pull if they have them listed. They don't have them for everything. So I'll just need you to provide me that. And if you want to use like specialty, that's fine. I can make that work for these. So thank you guys so much for working with me on this, and for, and encouraging me to keep going to get those finishes. It does feel good to be going. I was going to count how many WIPs I have now going into Stitch Madness, but I didn't, and I'm not getting up because I'm in my pajamas and you don't need to see that. I'm going to be starting tomorrow doing Stitch Madness, which is today for those of you that are watching. So I thought I would fill you in on what my first start is going to be. I'm going to be starting with, surprise, surprise, if you were paying attention to the floss card, I'm going to be starting with All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Anna. I've had this one for a really long time. I've seen so many people do it so beautifully. And I'm really excited to start it. The reason I decided to start this one tomorrow is because it is National Pig Day. Real thing. And there's a pig somewhere on here. Right. Oh, see? Hands. Pig right there. So that is why I'm starting him tomorrow. Him. Why do I call projects him? This. It's a lot of hymns. I'm going to be doing this on 40 count vintage sand dune. The same as I did Stranded Jack on and Without a Mouse. It's not my favorite, but it's better with a magnifier. And I will be using these beautiful colors from DMC. So that's what I'm doing. Hope you all are doing well. I will be filming hopefully weekly during Stitch Madness to update you with what I'm doing, but I'm not going radio silent on Instagram. Not gonna happen. I didn't love it. I didn't take pictures as I was stitching. I like that just for my records, not only for you guys. I probably will spam all of these finishes on Instagram tomorrow once this is posted as well, so they will be there. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I really, really, really am so glad that I'm walking away with so many of those finished. 18 completely done. 2 that I'm not going to finish, so I'm taking them off. They're going off the WIP wall because if I start them again, start date changes and fabric's going to change. So they're going off and going away. And that only leaves 4. That only leaves 4 that I still need to work on, and that's, I think, okay. So that should put me at like 30 or 31 starts. Probably 31 right now since I also started Matter's Choice in February. Okay with that. Puts me at 62 at the end of March. Unless I finish some, which I might. Although most of them are pretty big, so probably not. If you are one of my winners, just comment below. I'll need, or send me an email, quirksandstitches@gmail.com. I will need addresses. Please just make sure you are over 18 and live in the United States or Canada so that I can send them to you. If you are overseas, I will just send them digitally, not printouts. I think that's all. I feel like there was something else though. Ending these is hard. No, I think that's it. I'll be back in like a week. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for watching. Keep commenting. Oh yeah, and if you want that piece of fabric that I've talked so highly about from Cod Keeps, again, I think if you're a Q-snap stitcher or something, it might work better for you. I would be glad to send it along. So first comment I get that once it claims it, I will comment and let you know that I got it. So that's it. Keep stitching, guys, and I look forward to seeing what you're doing and showing you more of my progress. Bye, guys.